Everyone, I'd like to introduce our next person, our performer. She's a performance poet, and she's a fifth grader from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Her name is Sarita Sol Gonzalez. She wrote her first poem when she was in the second grade. Sarita is one of the youngest writers in the Albuquerque poetry community. Her poetry reflects her love of her community and passion for her culture. She has been published in various anthologies, including Kids with Causes, a poetry anthology of youth voices, and Las Palabras, Mothers and Daughters. She has also self-published a chapbook titled Solita, Ancestors, Familia, and Mi Corazón. So here she is, folks. You can put your hands together for Sol Sarita Gonzalez.
Thank you. This poem is about guns. Look at you. Aren't you beautiful? Look at all these people. Aren't they beautiful? Of course they are. And of course you are. But these guns of envy, hatred, and destruction, how could the human race create such a harmful thing? There is one simple answer: fear. Fear is what guns stand for. But guns were originally made for strength, power, and survival. Where did all this change? I was watching the news with my familia, and I heard about this cruel, selfish, and insecure man who went into a gay club and shot, and shot, and shot, and shot. And he had seen a gay couple kissing in front of his wife and children. And his mind, body, and soul were filled with rage and confusion. So many lives were lost that day, 50 lives, and 53 lives were changed forever because of guns and the violence that comes with them. All of these beautiful people were hurt, and more will be if we don't take a stand. But now, people are realizing the horror of guns. Don't you see? I can't do this alone. No one ever could. So now, and without guns, think of how many lives would be saved. 31 people in the U.S. die each day by being shot with a gun. And 56 people die in the U.S. each day from suicide with a gun. So let me ask you one question. Have you ever wanted to be a hero? Well, you can by helping this generation understand and respect guns. You won't just be a hero. Everyone will be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sol. That was very powerful. And next, I'd like to introduce the proud father of Sol Sarita, Manuel Gonzalez. He's the City of Albuquerque's Poet Laureate. He's a performance poet who began his career in the Poetry Slam. He has represented Albuquerque on a national level as a member of the Albuquerque Poetry Slam team 2000, 2002, 2003, and 2007. Manuel has also appeared on the PBS show Colores in My Word is My Power. He was one of the founding members of the poetry troupe, the Angry Brown Poets. Manuel has a collection of his poetry published by Swimming with Elephants Press entitled But My Friends Call Me Burque. Manuel teaches workshops on self-expression and poetry in schools, in at-risk youth facilities, and at youth detention centers. He has also worked with art therapists at youth treatment facilities. Manuel is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Manuel?
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I want everybody to find someplace cool and comfortable. I know it's kind of rough, but maybe as cool and comfortable as you can possibly get here. You don't have to be, sitting out in the sun to hear some good poetry. But what I do want you to do is give Majita another round of applause. That poem that she shared with you just now, she wrote specifically for this occasion. So this is the first time she ever really performed it in public before. And I'll have her come back up here to share some of the poems that she's a little bit more familiar with, so you can see like the poetry that she does. But I can't ask Sarita to come to an event and read a poem that she just wrote brand new without doing it myself. So I wrote this poem for this event. Let's see how it goes. Oh, thank you. She said, "You can do it, Dad." Okay. My power doesn't come from the barrel of a gun. My power comes from my history, my ancestry, art and poetry. I'm not a gunsmith. I'm a wordsmith, finding strength in speaking tested truths, the kind of truths that's road weary and worn, the kind of truth that has seen heartache and carnage that comes from 9mm, 12 gauges, 45 caliber. I speak truths about familias shattered, lives lost, hearts stopped, from the guns hidden underneath baggy clothes, to the guns in the holster behind the badge, to the guns. It's never been about protection, it's about power. And my power doesn't come from the barrel of a gun. My power comes from the rain that washes the blood off the street, to the tears that leave tracks on my face, the wind that whispers the names of the fallen, the moon that reminds me of the memory. But my power doesn't come from the barrel of a gun. My power comes from the one. Thank you. Okay, now for the next few minutes, me and Majita, we're going to go back and forth and share poems. She's going to share one, and then I'm going to share one. And we're going to do that for a little while. So make sure you go find you some good watermelon or some good comida, and just listen. Open your heart and open your ears. Put your hands together for Sarita Sol Gonzalez.
This poem is titled War and Love. Children die when they are taken by the death of war. Slowly, everything starts to wither away into the abyss. Sometimes, the violence gets so strong that everything is destroyed by the chaos. In all the death, all you can hear is the silence. And it was war that brought this destruction to the land. Families are torn apart by hatred. The guns shoot bombs. The tanks shoot bombs into this once beautiful place that is now ravaged by guns. Guns that shoot into the hearts of innocent children. The heart as the world is broken because of this tragedy. Warriors are fighting for peace. The world would be a beautiful place without war. Sunshine, peace, and love everywhere. Flowers in bloom as the world turns around. Generosity is what love is all about. Sharing peace and spreading hope. We are all brothers and sisters, and we should be loyal to our family. When the crying stops, you can hear the laughter. People begin to be honest to each other, telling the truth. We are all connected in a circle that never ends. Imagine if there was no crying, pain, or death, and everywhere you look, you would see hope, beauty, and light. You don't have to be sad, because the world is full of wonder and magic. Just look out your window. You can see it, you can hear it, and you can feel it. Thank you.
My hita writes these poems. She titled her first book Solita because she wanted everybody to know that she wrote those poems by herself, that her dad didn't help her write those poems. And so, like, I can't really take any kind of credit for her art in that way. I mean, I made sure she didn't, like, choke on anything when she was a baby and made sure she stayed alive, but all her light and magic comes from her, and I can't take any credit for that. But let me share a poem with you guys. See how this one goes. This is a call to the people, to the cashless masses with the heart of passion and ration of the mind. Those whose third eye is waking. Those who have felt the fire and faced it. Those who are no longer complacent. Those who dare to think differently. If you ponder the possibility of infinity, you are a true revolutionary. With cerebral C4, we incinerate and obliterate the confines of conformity. With ancestral allies, the fallacy of individuality dies within the limitless confines of your third eye. I know that the warriors must once again unite to fight for the birth of this sexto sol. Preparation comes in strengthening of the soul. Focus and meditation will bring this revolution. Revelation. The modern poets and prophets personify the possibility of paramilitary mental revolutionary. We got to take the minds of the children and build them into true men and women with knowledge of self and the weapon of self-expression, because the enemy ignorance has no chance against righteousness. And this time our revolution will be televised on the telepathic pathways of the Most High, and our war cry will be Jah Rastafari, sounded by them dreadlocks doing pop locks on the front lines, and capoeira assassins will commit the corporate coup d'etat, because we dispense our rhetoric and rhythms, revolutionary rallies, and that are disguised as raves. Our operative orders will be given by mystic shaman DJs. Our secrets will be relayed by code talkers who are Dene, members of the Red Power movement with something to say. Our leaders will meet in sweat lodges, and the heat of our grandfathers will give us the solution to win this revolution. And I'm talking about the evolution of ideas and the resolution to become enlightened for the sake of all living beings, seeing past all delusive passions and to penetrate the most furthest gate of truth. Because as a child of God, we have a divine birthright, and we inherit this birthright by battling the bastards of blasphemy with sunlight. We will win this revolution because it's a revolution of the mind, and because we know, like Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only ends up making everybody blind. Thank you. Okay, then do that one.
Yeah. Sorry it's taking so long. Thank you. This poem is titled News. When I turned on the TV, there's hardly any good news. I hear about guns, violence, and hate. There's hardly any good news. Why do so many people fight? There's hardly any good news. There are so many tragedies, like murder because of hatred. There's hardly any good news. You can see life fall apart before your very eyes. There's hardly any good news. But what if news was about love? A baby's first laugh. That could be news. The beauty of the blue sky. That can be news. Kids laughing and playing. That can be news. Listen to birds singing. That could be news. And when you see bad news, turn off your TV. Thank you.
All right. Let me see. See, we're doing good. We're doing good. I hope all of y'all are kind of cool, or at least this little breeze is cooling you off a little bit. All right. We fold future memories into modern codices. We honor our ancestors by giving old graffiti glyphs new life. We slice time with our tongue like a knife from the center of the Quinto Sol, obsidian blade, cutting through the silence, making the new language whole. Huitzolopochtli hummingbird hovers over the flower of life and drinks life's nectar and tastes the sweetness of infinite symbology, breaking up tags into graffiti numerology, counting the signs and searching for direction. But the subtlety of images breaks away from artistic preconceptions, allowing imagination to run free, manifesting mystic messages, hoping to see the next codex recording history, to be burned in the fire, but like a phoenix from the flames, it's time to give ourselves new names, returning to the beginning, putting Coyolxauhqui back together, trying to remember the significance of the womb, and the magnificence of the moon, and the inevitability of the tomb, because muerte makes mortality meaningful. Amazed by the ways the soul plays with the page, creating symbols of sorrow and rage, while tattooed teardrops take time to fall. Permanent pictures of pain can't be washed away by the rain or incinerated by the flame, needing someone to blame. We incarcerate creativity, keeping kids quiet, silencing their poetry, hiding their identity. But ancestral knowledge is genetic. You can't forget it. It's in our DNA. Those spiraling scrolls hold wisdom old. Tetzcatlipoca spoke of smoking mirrors. Mysteries hidden, but making vision clearer. Light turned inward to see spirit. Soul can be dark, but there's no reason to fear it. It's visceral and mystical, full of magic and messages to be seen in dreams. Olin Mexica, making a movement. El movimiento estudiantil. Ayotzinapa students kidnapped and killed, igniting a revolution, burning down old towers of oppression, finding freedom through confession of sins against self, redefining wealth, exploring the possibility of turning the page fast enough to keep the poem going, and doing it, of salvation through self-expression, journeying with Mictlantecutli, laughing with our own mortality, knowing that there's more to reality than what can be seen by the eyes. It's like the life-changing moment when we first realize that the heartbeat is the rhythm of the universe. So we write a verse to express that connection and make time rhyme with mind, seeking the sensation of meditation, kissing Kundalini. While the chakras are spinning into infinity, we write our own histories, making new creation myths to birth a new ideology. The codex was burned, but we already learned the symbology. Blood and bones, tears shed alone, yearning for home, words written in stone, while we honor ceremony and ritual. Daily devotions becoming habitual, the discipline that it takes to journey to the other side, where we're exposed with nothing to hide. Taking control of our own stories, we begin to heal. We heal from the wounds that scar the spirit, drawing a picture of our pain, painting a portrait of what makes us proud, because when we finally leave this place, all that'll be left will be that face on the shroud. Thank you.
I have that one ready. Okay, so this was very big thing for me. I got to read poetry in the Library of Congress with the U.S. Poet Laureate 2 years in a row, including this year, Mr. Juan Felipe Herrera. And so I also got to read poetry with Miss Elena Mendina. She's 12 years old, 1 year older than me, and she is from Chula Vista, California. And this is the Exquisite Corpse we wrote together. An Exquisite Corpse is a poem that is written by 3 people and you follow the line and write a poem about that line after what they wrote. So this is ours that we wrote for Mr. Herrera. The title is "The Earth is Ours and She Asks Us Many Things." She speaks in a sweet, soft voice that you can only hear if you truly listen. She asks us, do we love all our relations? And do we listen to the stories of our ancestors? We walk, we play in the motion of stars. All the voices come to us. We dance. But this dance is like no other. It grabs you like an ocean current and moves swift like the wind. It twirls and tumbles like fire and keeps you gathered to the tierra. Tierra, tierra, ancient gourd, emerald warrior, sunlight and turtle red, tortuga, tortuga, on whose back we live. We bow to new generations. May they not fall. May they blossom. Insider words and outsider words, the words of the people. The voices speak to me. They tell me I'm here for a reason that will take my people in a different direction, a direction building brighter future with bridges, not borders, and live the dreams that we can only imagine. Thank you.
I love that poem. That poem always gets me excited to hear her spit that one. All right, let me share this poem with you. It's about violence. Kind of about silence. All right. Our reevaluation of life. It comes after we look death in the eye. In the face of mortality, we reorganize priorities. Death is the final silence. But silences that we hold before death can betray us. It collects and pulls into puddles in the street. It sickens our hearts and settles in our feet. Motionless and quiet, our feathers cannot fly. That silence is so loud we can't hear ourselves cry. The silence we hear while watching another innocent soul die. Not the silence that comes from searching your soul for the stillness. Not that brilliance, but the silence that robs ourselves of ourselves and each other. That man could be your brother. That woman could be your mother. The silences that are public and the silences that are private. The public silences give us a false sense of safety through anonymity. Silence in the face of injustice. Silence while the forces of tyranny fight to subjugate, control, and oppress us. The silences that keep things like they've always been, stealing our trust. While we're quiet and compliant, the machine grinds us to dust, robbing us of our dignity, our identity, our ability to heal and grow, robbing us of our very lives. Hands up, don't shoot. When you see that something isn't right, it's your responsibility to speak, cry, yell, scream, let your voices be heard. Turn that silence into words. But there's also those silences that happen in private, the unspoken pain that we hold deep inside that makes us wear, that masks, the masks that we wear that give us a place to hide. We shed our vulnerabilities from the light of day, our insecurities, our fears, the mistakes that we've made, the people we betrayed, the indignities that we've survived at the hands of those who hold hate in their hearts for us and the hands of those that we love most. When we keep our pain unspoken and nameless, it spoils and festers. It holds us back and holds us down. We choke on the words that we should be speaking while avoiding, hiding, and keeping that pain hidden. Speak and tell of your tragedies, your disappointments. Expose the darkness inside of you and give it a name. Write that dark, painful poetry. We poison ourselves by swallowing our words, and in that silence, nothing is resolved, nothing gets better, nothing changes. We remain lost in the complacency, comfortable in the anonymity. Nobody needs to know the names of the demons inside me. We fear that visibility, but it's that vulnerability that is the source of our strength. Turn that silence into language, verbalize that anguish, expose the corruption. Never allow an injustice to take place in your presence without letting your voice be heard. Speak your words. Talk to someone. Tell of the dark moments and the weight we carry on our backs. We protect ourselves from feeling pain. Let the silence be broken. Let the words be spoken or written or screamed at the top of your lungs or sung in a song that inspires us to look into ourselves and to see the light. But then it's time to pick up the fight, because we were never meant to survive, but we're here, breathing, speaking, and alive. We need to turn the silence into language, but then it needs to become action. Language has power, and it's time to empower ourselves. We need to define ourselves and name ourselves, speak ourselves, then move, stand up, and understand that it doesn't come without fear. But don't let the fear paralyze you. We can speak while we're afraid the same way we speak when we're tired. Push through that wall of fear, because fearlessness will never come. You gotta do the work. Heal yourself. Look deep within and clean out your old wounds. Shed your tears and feel the pain. The scars will remain so that you'll never forget, but the pain can go away. You just have to say its name and forgive yourself and let go of the resentment. Pick up a sign and organize protest. Fight the powers that be and the injustices they perpetuate. Do it for yourself. Do it for your children. Look around you and see how we're all in this struggle together. Cop and criminal, man and woman, black, white, brown, red, gay, straight, bi, trans. Our spices are separate and particular, but our skins sing in complementary keys. By transforming our silence into language and then action, we can hear each other's stories and see each other for our humanity and our beauty. So transform yourself, transcend yourself, speak, and then act. Thank you. Majita's over there talking to Bianca, and I think we're getting close to the end of my set. Are you all? Well, thank you so much for listening and sweating with me out here in the sun, and we got lots more to do today. Make sure you let your voices be heard and write your own poetry, and I'm going to pass the microphone to Jose Luis.